Buddhist beggars beating down the door for dinner. In a far-off country, formerly known as Prince, the monks in Burma roam the land with a begging bowl in hand, seeking food for their flesh, teaching paths to enlightenment. Peaceful people feed the monks. Peaceful monks teach the people who come down to help, come down to heal, come down to eat. We feed them, they feed us, having Buddhist beggars beating down the door for dinner. In America now, there are mendicant monks living amongst us in graduate school for sainthood. Spirit Rock rocks the spirit, produces probable saints, psychoanalytical saints, not therapists in offices overlooking stuff, coming down to help, coming down to heal, coming down to eat. We feed them, they feed us, having Buddhist beggars beating down the door for dinner. Thousands of saints roaming the hills, trained psychotherapists, death transition specialists. They took to the hills, paid attention all day, spreading out over the land, coming soon to a neighborhood near you, coming down to help, coming down to heal, coming down to eat. We feed them, they feed us, having Buddhist beggars beating down the door for dinner. The world sits silent day after day. The news has stopped. The media is still. The oil still flows. The heroin is produced. The gems are cut and polished. But how many monks are dead? How many monks are still? Much like the media. A lot of stillness. The time to act is now. The call to action is to you. Come down to help. Come down to heal. Come down to eat. We feed them. They feed us, having Buddhist beggars beating down the door for dinner. Hi, I am Paul Duchesne, and we're going to drink some tea and read a little poetry. Now for tea, there's three essential elements. There's the tea we actually drink, there's the temperature of the water, and there's the time it takes to brew. In the time it takes to brew, we're going to read a little poetry. Let's start with the tea. The tea today is going to be an Anxi Tea Kuan Yin. It's from the Anxi province in China. And China, it may do a lot of things that we don't like too much nowadays, but one thing they do really good is they make good tea, let me tell you. This tea is a spring tea that was actually it's a new tea, and it says new harvest. It's not a spring tea, it was a fall tea that was just harvested. And Teance is the company where I bought it over in Berkeley, and it's an all hand-rolled Tea Kuan Yin oolong style tea. There's 4 types of tea: white, green, oolong, and black. This is an oolong tea. Oolongs are the most complex teas. So we're going to take a couple of tablespoons of this, put it into my Yixing teapot here. I'm going to add a little drop of water to, what they do is wake up the leaves, so to speak. We pour a little bit of water on and we sort of wake up the leaves. There's not much flavor there. It's almost just like water. We could pour it off and get rid of it in this fancy little Chinese tea tray I have, but we're going to let this tea steep now for a couple of minutes while we read the poem. And the poem is going to be, "You Can Never Speak Up Too Often for the Love of All Things," is this book of poetry by Paul Fleischman, and the poem specifically is going to be "One Last River's Wild Ride." And it's preceded by saying, when you're paddling a canoe through the rapids, you need to go faster than the water in order to remain autonomous mobility, free of the current. It's as if we're always paddling down the river, you and I, who are always in the same boat. Canyon walls towering above us on either side and no way off the water, so forced right down through the chute. White water below us, certain death. And instead of just collapsing into inevitable, undignified defeat, we accelerate the boat's descent. Dip the paddles deep into the black, deep water. Let's outrace the current down towards the dark rocks and wild foam. Ahead of the game, source of our own speed. Let's lean out beyond the gunnels, the better to brace and bend the responsive ash paddle blades. Swirling our canoe with living heat of muscles' inner fire, past rock after menacing rock's destructive rim, we're wheeling, urging on, our deltoids flaring like flanks of wild horses as we sweep down the white water's heavy, surging mass. For the person truly alive, death must be a victory we approach at our own speed. Inevitable, looming ahead. Let's not be taken down, but shoot across in full possession of the final moment's fate. Either then or long before, even right now, we may awaken. In true river boaters, always paddling towards the last moment, when a spirit that moves faster than the water and so retains command over motility and the mind's life moves, as we yell over to our companion paddlers above the river roars, this river strips my dream come true. In my body I'm landlocked, decaying from within and graying from without. My knees are grinding against my time-worn cartilages. The head of the humerus no longer able to rotate within the scapular's rounded, roughened bed. My spinal column rotting like damp basement stills. A patriarch I've never seen before stares back at me from among his silver beard and mane, and I comb my hair in the mirror every morning, but in spite I feel newborn. Now I want to take my life as one last river's wild ride. You and me, old travelers, old adventurers, howling on Northwood lakes with loons, haloed by pastel sunsets, alert and upright in the bucking boat, facing every submerged boulder, every eddy, with total contact of our body, mind, and paddles far, far beyond mere faith, living to our last immersed in one last river's wild ride. The paddler heads down the river towards where it dips below the line of sight, watches the liquid world of his own body scintillating around him in rolling ricochets and runs, stripped of everything but realization now, all grasping wrung out of him. His mind is open like the original dawn. The great determination of the paddler pays off at last. Power, concentration, and unblinking recognition of the truth. Now is the time for fruition within the storm. Wisdom while rushing down the rapids. Totally calm, alert, acceptant of reality. This is the way the riverman descends on his one last river's wild ride. Inside the mind is a river of thought and turbulent water. Despairs and pity and pleas ready to crack the hesitant boat. But you and I, let's be hell-bent to become old river boaters, keen, fast, and steady-eyed, leaning forward, paddle blades churning, racing down the white river on one last river's wild ride. It's a poem about getting older, at the very least. And a lot could be said about it, but the poem went on a little bit. And I'd like to drink the tea, which is probably oversteeped a tiny bit. This tea's been sitting here for, how many minutes has it been sitting here for, Gordy? Almost 5 minutes. Well, it's a little bit oversteeped, but it has a wonderful floral aroma to it. A really almost like a lavender type of flavor. It's a real floral, very floral bouquet, rich, delicious, pleasant, aware of the wonderful tasting tea. Have a great day.